So last I left off, I was at 98% data collection. Of course, now it shows that it's at 100%. Now I have to share the story behind that. So um, I didn't have any ideas about how to go get to 100% data collection if all of the pictures had already been collected. So I looked up on I don't know, what they call it, the Steam forum, um, the Steam posts, how people achieved 100% data collection. And I learned two things. Um, the first one is about music, and the second one is if you complete the tasks I'm about to describe about the music, under side stories, a new button shows up underneath equals called test VM. And this actually fills out the side stories and gets so that the buttons go all the way to the bottom of the page or the bottom of the scroll bar. So several recordings ago, when I said there's space left here you can scroll, it's not filled by these options. Well, it turns out that actually meant something. At least in the side stories menu it does. Now, I haven't clicked on this yet, and so I don't know what it does. All I know is that when you get 100% data collection, it shows up. Another thing that shows up if you get I also noticed when I started the game this evening that I got a new piece of mail. This did not show up the instant I got 100% data collection. It happened after I closed the game and then a day later restarted the game. And it's on December 1st. Oddly enough, I haven't read this yet. As you can see, it's marked as unread. The what do you call it? The subject line is "Let's move on," which is somewhat odd of a subject line for something written earlier in time. This is like you'd expect to be like a giving up email, like this is the end kind of email, given this subject. But it's on December 1st, so I'll wait to read that until later, and read that for the first time on recording. So onto the music. So I read that you basically play this track Candy Hearts several times, like about about three times, and then after three times, a new track called Candy Hearts with a Z appears right underneath it. And so I attempted to do this. I thought, well, I have to play this a couple times. So if I'm probably going to record me playing this over and over again on a loop because I want to capture all my moments when I unlock new stuff on recording. And so I thought, well, maybe to when I start that recording, I'll start it off by, I guess, transcribing this and playing it in some annoying way to indicate that it's going to continue to be played in an annoying way further on in the recording. And it turns out that it's a relatively well composed piece of soundtrack compared to some of these other ones. It's kind of this Charlie Brown ish, Christmassy sounding jingle thing. Um, and I kind of got this far with it. I skipped a phrase. Um, then it changes key. It goes up about a fifth. Well, actually, it goes it goes up about a fourth in my approximation. And then there's a second theme, which I like for a couple days worked on trying to figure out like what the scale pattern was. And I converged on the same thing twice, although it was a different key each time, the same like scale steps. But even though this is what it converged on, it perpetually sounds wrong to me. That's kind of embarrassing because children can transcribe things by ear rather easily. This is not something hard. And so when something sounds really wrong, I get kind of embarrassed. But it sounds like something like maybe it's a D. Anyway, the way it might be tricking me is, or I'm going to play this in a minute, is when you sing or you hum a melody, there's there's a there's a tendency to scat, meaning that you tend to automatically adjust the vowel sounds as you're singing it. So like dun da 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 da. As you sing the more higher notes, you tend to use a more closed vowel like E, and then when you go down lower, you tend to lower more open vowels like O. And when I was in college, I had this. I took a course where I had to have this final project, something to do with computer music, and I decided to take something that you would, for example, hum in the shower or sing in the shower, and take a bunch of these kind of constructed samples that I made based on me seeing different vowels into my crummy embedded laptop microphone at the time, and make this computer generated like only like one note melody, well, several one note melodies chained together, where it would modify the vowel based on the note, so it kind of sound like how it would sound if you were going to sing it. Jason Hayes is, I think, just the piano player. Oh, well, he composed it too. Okay. May have actually done something like that with his midis when he composed this, because the vowel sound seems to change as you go across the melody. And when that happens, and kind of the result of that is you sing it and you have these vowel sound changes, and then you try to play it on an instrument. Like I was using a recorder just then, has an even timbre to it, where the vowel sound doesn't change, it just changes pitch and has a similar spectrum for each pitch. It sounds wrong. Or what you thought would be was, you think there's more changes in pitch because of your changes in timbres, but then you think the melody's more complex than it actually is, and then you try to transcribe it and you realize it's much simpler when you have an even timbred instrument. Anyway, whatever. So what happens but what happened was I played this the first time, like on my transcription session, and the event that's supposed to happen triggered immediately. So apparently I already listened to this enough times in the past so that it triggered immediately. And what that it looks like is, see, this is 2 minutes and 55 seconds long. You start playing it, and it sounds normal for about the first 8 seconds, which I presume this is about a 120. It starts out pretty slow. Was the first 4 bars or so sound normal, and then, but you notice something kind of strange in that you remember this being 2 minutes 55 seconds, but in this progress bar you see 1 minute and 7 seconds. And about 8 seconds in, suddenly everything kind of falls apart, and you get something different. Now, it doesn't show Candy Hearts here on the right. It still shows Candy Hearts with an S. It's just that it's a 1 minute and 7 seconds long, and about 8 seconds in, things tend to go to guano. Then, after it's done playing all that, because like, oh, I must have triggered the event, then a new track appears called Candy Hearts with a Z, and it's composed of the 59 seconds after the first 8 seconds. So Candy Hearts with a Z, when you play it, doesn't start with those first 8 seconds that sound like normal Candy Hearts with an S. It just goes right into the bad stuff. So it's only 59 seconds long. And then Candy Hearts with an S returns to normal. So the first time when you play Candy Hearts for your 3rd or 4th time, or whatever times it takes to trigger this event, you get a unique 1 minute and 7 second long track that is unrecoverable. And I listened to that track off recording, and so that experience is not preserved, unfortunately. But if I can remember to edit the audio correctly when I edit this audio, I'm just going to mute myself and play these 2 tracks one after the other, and get a recording of those being played, even though you could just buy this and then you could play the tracks. Don't think I'll get the copyright for this, because it's not your reality. Hopefully someone didn't make a cover and register it, and, I don't want to go into that rant. Okay, muting myself now. Okay, and if you're curious, there is no way that you can't click and drag on this progress bar, and there's no pause. There's just play and stop, and if you hit the stop button, the bar goes all the way back to zero. So it's not like you can kind of mess around in here. Um, so anyway, that's that, and recall what I said that first time you hear can that Halloween music essentially, um, it makes itself out to be the normal Candy Hearts, and it tricks you with it. It only appears until as a separate track until after it does that. Okay, so now I'm going to go read the new email from Paula. It's kind of long. We need to have a meeting. I'm really hoping that there is some hint in here about how to open 14, but just looking at it, there doesn't seem to be any hints at all. I don't see any times or any codes in here. The timestamp for 14 would be somewhere nearby the code 501, so I would be looking for 501 as well. But this seems to be just text. We, I'll just read it. We need to have a meeting about shifting our focus a little bit. We've reset VM1 how many times now? For real. We've definitely collected as much data as we can from it at this point. So it's like you are the Paula's team. And so you had to reset it a whole bunch of times in order to collect all of the art assets and get 100% data collection. So 100% data collection happens on December 1st. So the whole rest of the story happens after you've reached 100% data collection, even though it gets revealed to you before you get 100% data collection. Okay. We just need to work with what we have and try to increase the stability of our connection to VM2. So you've already finished like beating on Doki Doki Literature Club. It's time you moved on to the next game we're coming out with. We've obviously gotten spoiled by the ease of access that VM1 offers us, but it's unrealistic for someone in real life to be granted a level of elevation even close to monitor kernel access. If we can't establish a stable connection to VM2, then how can we expect to get anywhere when the same scenario inevitably occurs to our own universe? You would think that this would be some sort of hint about what VM2 is about. That VM2, you can't actually elevate somebody to monitor kernel access. And they are relating that to quote unquote our own universe, and that in our own universe, quote unquote, you cannot elevate somebody to monitor kernel access. Anyway, thanks to Ro's work, we were able to acquire a few rudimentary logs. I have an idea of how to increase connection stability to VM2 while maintaining weak hypervisor access to everyone inside on an individual basis. Ironically, it has to do with something that we're building in their own VM. They're building in their own VM. Okay, so the entities in VM2 are also building a VM. Okay. So I'm playing a game about people making a game, two games, and one of those games, the characters in that game, they're making a game. Okay, so let me try to get that. I'm playing a game where the characters are making two games. In one of those two games, those characters are making a game. Um, I'll go into detail in a more formal report, but some of the log files indicate attempts of theirs to pool together the access potential of multiple individuals into a single parallel unit. It sounds ridiculous, but if they actually get somewhere with it, then we might have a solid entry point that doesn't heavily intrude upon the VM. I'm going to spin up a read-only hypervisor that we can use to test different ideas like this. The elevation level will be set to monitor adjacent runtime level access. The VM will be named Test VM for now. Okay. Although the parallel access unit they're building in the VM seems to be called Project Lipitina. According to the few logs we have, we can change the name once we actually get a decent picture of it. So the game that the characters in VM2 are building, they're calling, or the VM, they're calling Project Libitina. I actually don't remember everything about Project Libitina. That was the monster Easter egg of that you come up with from the original freeware version of Doki Doki Literature Club. I'll read the entry on the wiki and maybe watch Matt Pat's theory again on that before I do any sort of roundup or conclusion on this. Because I forgot all about the details of Project Libitina. But we now know that the Project Libitina is built by the characters in VM2. So, whatever that means. Okay. So, no hints about how to open 14. Just that TestVM is their attempt at trying to access VM2. So theoretically, when I go into TestVM, I'm going to get a hint about what's going on in VM2. Although it's probably just going to give me a bunch of error text and Easter eggs and stuff. If a bunch of crazy text rolls across the screen, well, hopefully I can hit TestVM a second time. But I'm going to be, again, looking for timestamps. And timestamps that show up in a context that also includes the code 501. So. I got the Steam achievement breakthrough, by the way. Just now. It doesn't show up on recording, but it happened. So that 100% is the Steam achievements. Okay. Him the title Guardian to reflect. So have given him the title Guardian to reflect. Connection lost. So the only thing we got out of that was have given him the title Guardian to reflect. And the rest of this may be a cipher, a cryptogram, but it doesn't really take common word patterns. Yeah, I wonder if that's a cryptogram. It's a really rough cryptogram, if so. Well, I'll do a print screen of it and paste it into Paint just in case. I want to look at it later. I want to study the test VM. Okay. And then let me hit enter. Click. And then that have given him the title Guardian to reflect. Guardian might be a reference to something from the original information about Project Libitina you got from the character files in the original game. So... oh. Okay, I'm going to print screen this also. Why? This is super important. I better print screen this post-haste. I should be able to get feedback momentarily. So I have these two PNGs, and I'm going to open both of them and see if they... I know this is not a recording, but I want to... it's not being picked up by OBS, but I want to compare them and see if they share common no, they don't. Oh, well, that's a disappointment. Immediately when I saw this garble text block here that did not read have given him the title Guardian to reflect. I was hoping that everything else would be the same, and then you could kind of match the garble text to that English text, and then that would give you a head start on solving a cryptogram. But it looks like this completely different text. I see it. I see it. I found it. 54, 42, 15. 2:14 is the timestamp. Why is that hyper interesting? One, there's a timestamp, and it's 2:14, which maybe give me a hint that that's the timestamp to open 14.txt. I turned around to someone and said, "You're looking at me funny." I don't know if you heard that. Anyway, so that's it. I like timestamps. The second thing is, though, these three numbers, 54, 42, 15, the three codes in the file system that bring you to missing missing directories are 151, 15, 420, 42, and 545, 54. So 54, 42, and 15 will take you to level 3s in that, code chain of directories where there's ones that are missing. And let's go in order. So 545, the third one, the one that's missing is 5. 420, the third one, the one that's missing is 0. 151, the third one, the one that's missing is 1. So that's 501. 501 is the code for 14.txt. That's a really obscure hint. Okay. Remember, I didn't know what test VM did. Okay, let's move on. Let's try it again and see if I get something else the third try. Yes, I did get something, okay. So I better write this down. So no numbers or times in here. Nope, all I have is, I'm going to print screen this as well. It's just 2 guardian angels, guardian referenced again, condemned to blindness, who seek a guiding light in their eternal prison. So let's screenshot this. It's getting exciting. Discovering stuff. Okay, saving another picture. Save. Okay. Let's go for another one. Okay, So this one says, is the increased potency from proximity to others a temporary effect, or does it have a lasting impact on the strength of their third eye? Let's print screen this. There's a lot of these. Okay. I wonder if this is RNG or whether or not it goes in a sequence. I hope it goes in a sequence, because if it's RNG, that would be kind of obnoxious. I'm already sick of RNG from this game. Text. Okay. An angel in mortal skin. She will walk the path of ascension, and we will follow. Now I'm going to print screen this. I wonder if there's going to be like overlaps and things. So there's overlap. There might be a way to solve a larger puzzle if there's some overlap between these texts and the Scarpal text surrounding them. So still getting new text. Don't know what the text means. I presume it's hints about the plot of VM2. Still have those new game eyes looking out for stuff for a new game, which is kind of a flaw. Okay. See if there's more. There's more! Okay. Can you only assume that even obstacles or failures are all a part of the great plan, even if beyond my comprehension? Well, I already print screened it, so it's fine. Saving this. This is the 6th screen so far. So there's at least 6 of these. It's another one. At 9 months each, a total of 36 would reach peak efficiency. 36? Is that number important? 36 would reach peak efficiency with about 1 week per. Okay. Kind of random. So that's 7 Easter eggs. Let's go for another one. Name implies death. But of what? Only the material self. Our mission to become free of the material self is... I don't know if these mean anything or whether they're just kind of words and phrases that convey a certain kind of mood. Is what this is all about. Kind of like alternative rock lyrics. Okay. Saving this one. This is number 8. Okay. number of specialized professions we will need to staff, such as additional nurses and reproductive. Okay. So just kind of a edgy way of saying OBGYNs. This is the, I believe the 9th one now. Ten is a nice round number. Opening the third eye creates a deep brain channel which causes sentient characteristics such as consciousness and free thought. 2. Is that it? Okay. Saving a 10th screenshot. Yeah, I don't remember any of the Project Libitina details, so I don't know if there's something called the third eye in Project Libitina. There's more. Emotional impulse over rationality by the... Wow, that was short. Maybe if we can, there's a way to, like, link these together so actually create a coherent paragraph. Okay. It's 11 snippets. Keep going. Okay, so we already got this one. I think... Is this the first one, though? I gotta check and see if it's cyclical. No, it's not. The first one was... Have given him the title Guardian to reflect. This, I think, is the third one. Like, no, that's Guardian Angels condemned to blindness. Let's see here. Okay, so we already got this message. Is the increased potency from proximity to others temporary effect, or does it have a lasting impact on the strength of the third eye? But we previously got it was higher on the screen. So we've rolled this message before, but not... Like, there's maybe some random generation in this, or maybe there's something special about it being different. So I'm going to print screen it just in case. Paste. Sorry about that. Do a bunch of file system stuff. I guess you could do this in Steam too. You could just hit F12 and it takes a screenshot. I haven't done that before. So I don't know how to do it. Name implies death, but what? Only the material self. Our mission to become free of the material self is... Right, so again, we've already gotten that message. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to stop screenshotting now because that's way too slow paced. I'm just going to do a few more rolls and see if we keep getting repeats. If we keep getting repeats, then I'll move on to the next thing. already got two guardian angels condemned to blindness. Okay. So that's a new one. So I'm going to print screen that one. Nutrition during child development. Okay. So it looks like there is some RNG element to this. There's some random generation, which means that you're necessarily not guaranteed. If you keep rolling, you're not guaranteed to be able to get them all. So this is a new message. Okay. So that's 12 new messages. That was I saved 13 files, but that's 12 messages so far. Are my children the opportunity? Oh, that's a new one. Okay. Next roll. Okay, I've already seen emotional impulse over rationality. So I think that's where I'm going to quit for now on the recording, and then off recording, I'm going to do a few more rolls and see if there's a few more snippets that you can uncover. Now, because I have this recording running, while I'm here, I'll do something that's more certain to work. So this timestamp was 2:14, was it not? So I'm going to exit the game. Then I wasn't prepared for this, but so I have to waste some time here finding the time and date settings. Date and time. Make them no longer automatic. Make them manual. Make the time 2:13. Do a change and launch the game. Got some syncing error because my internet's really slow. Doesn't matter. That made the launch process really slow, so it's already 2:14. 5:01 was it? Go. Yes. Okay. I see what's going on here. Okay. Um, I'll take two screenshots. So next time I want to look at this, I don't have to get the right timestamp and mess with my computer clock anymore. Save this as 14. And then I'll scroll the bottom and take another print screen. What was I doing? Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, and I believe these should overlap, right? Yeah, okay. Dearest Ive, where are the years going? Squinty face. Doesn't it feel like ever since we graduated, we're just the same doofy college kids, but we're being put into increasingly adult situations? It's hard to believe how much can happen in just 1 year, but all my memories this year are full of reminders why you've been my very best friend for so long. My gratitude for you is higher reaching than the mountains I'm going to live in after faking my death. Um, like, kind of winky, stick out your tongue face. Throwback to you actually entertaining that plan after helping me break up with Daphne. To this day, I can never tell how serious or joking you are about things, or life in general, but I think I would literally implode if I didn't have you to remind me that things never matter as much as they seem in the moment, and that things will always be okay. Imagine if we really do end up working together at Metaverse. That's literally the only way I think I'd be capable of coping with a mundane desk job. I know you said that your referral of me won't go very far because you're not a senior engineer. But as I'm coming out of my rough patch, it's the future I imagine for myself every day. I'm sorry for always being such a bundle of stress. I always feel like I want to be doing more for you because the amount you do for me just seems like more than anything I could give back. You inspire me to always improve, and when I don't believe in myself, I stay motivated to become a better person so that I can deliver all of my best qualities to you. I love you, and I always will, until we face the end of the world together. Wishing for another 14 million years of friendship. With everlasting love, Paula. And then eventually, Ivan and Paula got kind of annoyed with each other when working on this project. Um, Ive Laster is a senior engineer. He got promoted at some point. Is Paula a woman? Okay, I guess so. I presume it's a woman's name. It's just that I always thought of him as a man because I don't know. I profiled the things she writes and thought it was something a man would write. Okay, so I guess that's the last text file. That's the last Easter egg, unless there are more snippets in the test VM I haven't found. That's all of the data. Um, there is still some space for music down here, but it doesn't look like it's going to be occupied. That's as much hints at the mysteries of VM2 that I believe the game will give me. And so until I do some sort of roundup, I think I'm done. And it'll probably be done for a while. It'll probably be over a week before I do another recording on this. If I do, and it's theoretically possible, not going to do another recording on this at all. Um, but I plan on writing some things up and then doing some goofy recording later where I try to read this in Korean or something. But um, that's it for at least the gameplay and the substance.